left side, hit the paint on the inside of the track. He says he can't do that right now. Again, they think there's no tire issue, but he wants to bring it in just to make sure. He mentions trying to get down into the corner and use the left front to hit the paint. It's ironic he talks about that because that's what Kyle Busch did. We learned that listening to some drivers earlier today, following Kyle Busch around Charlotte Motor Speedway, and that was one of the things Kyle did so well. Almost get the left front down there, and it would hit the right rear corner just enough out where it would help turn the car through the corner. And obviously, Carson Hocevar, a student of the sport, watching hours and hours of video with a lot of different drivers, and why wouldn't you watch tape of Kyle Busch running around here? Kyle Busch being the winningest driver in the National Series here at Charlotte.
Yeah, no question. How are you going to learn? You're going to watch what the best do. You're going to see how it can either adapt to your driving style or how you can emulate what they do. Speaking of Kyle Busch, the car that he was driving, which is now the number 33, is driven by Austin Hill. He is on the track right now. His first lap for Austin Hill was 180.313 miles per hour. This is not Austin Hill's first start in the Cup Series. He has a familiarity with the Gen 7 race car, but you have to imagine the nerves are very high right now, understanding the weight of what he's doing this weekend.
Yeah, if you're Austin Hill, the goal of practice is don't stuff it in the fence. You got to get out there and just get some laps under your belt and just try to get back into a routine, not only as a driver, but more importantly for this race team down here as well, who is fully expecting to have Kyle Busch behind the wheel of their race car this weekend. So just get out there, get some laps in, get a baseline. I expect them to run a few laps, come back in, talk it over with the team, make an adjustment or two, go back out and improve on that. But I don't think at this point, given the fact that there are different agendas for all of these race teams, who's going to put down what we call the PR lap, the one that's going to grab the headlines leading into tomorrow's race? Some teams may want to go out and do that. Others say, yeah, we better make sure we have a good handling race car. We're not worried about grabbing a headline with just a good fast lap.
That's exactly right. Alex, last week at Dover Motor Speedway for the All-Star race, we talked about how fast can this track widen out. They sprayed resin on the track, which is a traction compound from the bottom to the top in turns 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4. Charlotte Motor Speedway has been treated with resin, but this isn't typically one that we worry at the track.
I'm PRN's Doug Turnbull, co-host of the 5 to Go podcast with roving racing journo Devin Coca.
There's a lot of things that go into this with the tire wear. With the corners at Martinsville are concrete, where the straightaways are asphalt, or Bristol's all concrete.
And 1988 Cup Series championship mechanic Dan Elliott.
Bubba, to me, he's a good driver, but he is right now his own worst enemy.
3 generations go deep on 5 racing topics each week. The 5 to Go podcast on Apple, Spotify, GoPRN.com, and YouTube.
You're listening to live coverage from the Performance Racing Network of the NASCAR Cup Series.
We welcome you back to Charlotte Motor Speedway, NASCAR Cup Series practice for the Coca-Cola 600. Well, Brad, we got quite a few drivers out there. To the tune of 35 drivers had gone onto the racetrack, but 35 drivers are all headed back to pit lane.
They are. We heard on the radio, precip, just a little bit of moisture out there right now. They are going to be ultra conservative when it comes to practice for sure. I'm looking at the window next to you, Alex, from our booth, which is literally on the roof here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Whenever precipitation has come in, we see that become the first thing to get wet. We see very little on the window next to you, but they're being conservative. You pointed out something. We were counting the cars that have not gone out, and if this has a large impact on whether or not we continue to practice, some of them won't get any practice at all.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick, who will start the Coca-Cola 600 first because qualifying was set by the rule book after it was canceled earlier today, has not gone on the racetrack as of yet. Chase Briscoe has not gone out on the racetrack either. There's just a handful of drivers that have not gone out yet. So if for whatever reason Mother Nature decides to pay an extended visit now here at Charlotte Motor Speedway this time around, who knows if we're going to be able to get the track completely dry and get practice resumed or not. We hope we will. We're optimistic that we will. But if we don't, this could be a gamble that may have backfired.
Yeah, this could be. Our race director, Laura Beth Barnhart's got some binoculars. She's like, Reddick's putting his helmet on now. I think they're probably like, we better go in case we get an opportunity. And I mean, looking around this, well, in fact, let's check in with Napa Pit reporter Alan Cavano. What can you tell us trackside, Alan?
Alex, you hit the nail on the head. It was a gamble that didn't pay off just yet. Chase Briscoe, Tyler Reddick, they were waiting. They were just simply waiting. They hadn't gone out yet. They were waiting for later in this practice session to go out first. Tyler Reddick didn't even have his helmet on until just recently, just before the caution came out. Chase Briscoe had just entered the track and actually made a lap at very low speed before coming back in, I believe. They attempted to go out, but that's when the caution hit for the weather in the area, and they were just gambling. There's no rhyme or reason or strategy other than waiting for longer in the practice session to go out, and it did not pay off yet.
All right, thank you very much, Alan Cavana. We're trying to take an inventory of who's made it out and who hasn't. I'm looking at the manufacturer logos and trying to go team by team right now. We know that Chase Briscoe and Tyler Reddick have not gone out, and we'll do a little bit of math here. But first, we'll pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network. Back at Charlotte Motor Speedway, practice for the Coca-Cola 600 alongside Alex Hayden. My name is Brad Gilley. Our Napa Auto Parts Pit reporters are Brett McMillan and Alan Cavana. We've got the red and black flag out for practice right now. They don't put the yellow out at practice. They just stop it when there is a reason to stop it. Right now, this reason, very, very light precipitation. And when I say light, I mean, Alex, it looks like enough came in to hit a couple of windshields. Let's be ultra cautious and bring the cars in.
Yeah, we don't need anybody wrecking race cars just because everybody thinks it's okay to go out there at speed. So if there's any moisture whatsoever coming out of the sky, let's be on the safe side. Now, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has put down the fastest single lap at 185.765 miles per hour. The best averages on 5 consecutive laps. Well, Michael McDowell was the best there. 10 consecutive lap average. 8 drivers ran 10 consecutive laps. Michael McDowell, the best there. Eric Jones, Austin Cindric, Riley Herbst, and Connor Zilic, the top 5 there. And only one driver went 15 consecutive laps. That was the Legacy Motor Club driver. Michigan's Eric Jones is the only one to do 15 consecutive laps.
Wow. Well, hey, good for him. 15 laps isn't much, but it's enough to tell you something. Noah Gregson is one of the other cars that has not gone out yet. And we'll go back down to pit road and check in with Brett McMillan.
Oh, you guys talked about the fact that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had the fastest lap. He actually came on the radio at the end of the session when the red flag came out and said he was super loose the first lap, but then it kind of got better from there, and then he was able to turn that fast lap. Todd Gittle in one of the slowest times out there, so the car was just super edgy for him. Daniel Suarez said the car was super loose pretty much through the whole run, the time that he was out there practicing. Carson Hocevar said the car was just a little bit loose, so he had the second fastest time, and he'll be making some adjustments as well.
Thank you very much, Brett McMillan. We're hearing that the safety truck is just going to make another lap to check on track conditions before they send them back out. Practice is scheduled to go for another 13 minutes here. And Tyler Reddick, he looks a little bit antsy to go now, doesn't he, Alex?
Yeah, he did. He's in the car, fired it up, rolled forward like a lot of the teams do, just to make sure the transaxle works and everything's good there. Pump the brakes. Okay, stop the car. Back it right back up, and he's ready to go. The other one is Carson Hocevar. He's at the exit of the pit lane all the way down at the yellow line to our right at the end of pit road. He's just waiting on somebody to say go, and he's going to be the first one out there. Now we see a couple of Joe Gibbs Toyotas roll away. They're headed to the end of the pit lane as well, getting ready to get back out on the racetrack. Christopher Bell, and there is Chase Briscoe getting set to go.
And I misspoke. We don't have 13 minutes. We have 28 minutes left to go in practice here today. This is going to go to 3:30 Eastern time as now we start to see a lot of the cars go out there and go out to make some big laps. So we know that Tyler Reddick has not seen this racetrack yet. We know that Chase Briscoe has not been out there yet. We know that Noah Gregson has not been out there yet. And Tyler Reddick and Briscoe, they pretty quickly went out there as well. Looks like Noah Gregson's going to make sure that they get some track time also.
Yeah, Carson Hocevar launched off the pit lane like John Force over here at the drag strip behind us. And then Noah Gregson was weaving in and out of traffic as well. Said, if you guys are going to just sit here at the end of pit road, I'm going around all of you. So they're immediately getting on the racetrack. There goes Hocevar. Here comes Noah Gregson at speed, and this mile-and-a-half Charlotte Motor Speedway is getting very busy out there right now.
It is getting very busy. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., host of our McDowell, Blaney, Heim, the 5 fastest in overall speed. As Alex mentioned, we don't really have a lot of 10, 15-lap averages because they didn't have enough time to do that, but that is certainly going to change as well as these cars make their way around this racetrack. And Shane Van Gisbergen, I've been watching him, Alex. He's coming off of turn number 4 right now, and that car has been running the middle to high groove just about every single lap I've seen him out there in practice.
And that's the beauty of practice is you got to go out and test your race car. What's it going to be like running right at the bottom of the track where the blue and white painted lines are all the way around that separates the apron from the flat, or rather the banking of the racetrack? What's my car going to do in the middle? Do I dare go up a few extra feet to driver's right and test the waters up there or not? Those are the types of things these drivers need to know, because over the running of 600 miles tomorrow, the Coca-Cola 600, chances are you're going to need to be able to go a lot of different lines through the corners, and you have to have a good idea of what your race car is going to do in response.
All of our drivers have gone out now. We've only had some make just one lap. Ty Gibbs is out there on the racetrack. He's only completed one. Tyler Reddick had completed one. Connor Zilich had completed one. Zilich is not out on the racetrack at the moment. In fact, they're working pretty hard on the right front corner of that car on pit road, Alex. The hood is up, and there are a lot of crew members looking at what's going on right there. So he must have felt something on that first.
Joey Logano's 29th. Brett McMillan just gave a report on Logano and some of their issues. Brad Keselowski currently 32nd. Chase Elliott is 35th right now in practice.
Who would have thought Chase Elliott would be 35th in practice? He's already won this year. Yeah, and this Hendrick team has actually started to really shine with the new Chevy Camaro body on intermediate tracks as well. So you have to wonder what Alan Gustafson might be doing, might be working on, might have in store. Either way, they're going to need to find something new.
Yeah, they are. They are fourth in the most laps run in practice. They've run 22 laps in practice. The best they were able to do was their third lap out there, 35th. But they are not in the top 10 in the 5 or 10 consecutive lap averages either. So clearly they are off just a bit. Going to take the opportunity to continue on and get a good idea what kind of changes they're going to need to make to their Chevrolet to try to find speed to get ready for the 600 tomorrow.
Martinsville win for Chase Elliott and a win at the last mile-and-a-half track we visited, Texas Motor Speedway, and we'll see what they can find out. Practice continuing here, 15 more minutes on the clock for the Coca-Cola 600 practice.
From fueling NASCAR champions on the track for over 20 years to innovating 94 octane, the highest octane on the market. Performance is what Sunoco does. All Sunoco fuel at the pump meets the same top-tier standards as the fuel used in NASCAR. From the track to your tank, you can trust Sunoco to help your vehicle perform at its peak.
Shane Van Gisbergen for the final time up here in turn number 2. He brought a gun to a knife fight today. Then we got Noah Grigson around right in the middle of the pack, and he got hammered by Ryan Priest. Brad Keselowski's off into the dirt as well.
The Toyota Save Mart 350 at Sonoma, Sunday, June 28th. Tickets at SonomaRaceway.com.
Practice continues for the Coca-Cola 600 from Charlotte Motor Speedway. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Hey, it's Charlie and Debbie, along with NASCAR legend Kyle Petty, inviting you to join us for Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown.
Each week, we'll put it in reverse and take a trip down memory lane, looking back at that week's top 20 country songs from years past.
We'll dive into what made those songs and artists move the needle, what pop culture trends made those years unique.
And you'll get to hear me tell stories only I can tell.
So don't miss Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown right here each week.
Hi, this is Doug Rice at PRN. Join me for another great episode of Fast Talk. I heard this 5 years ago with Jimmy Johnson.
I know what you're going to
Jimmy
say.
Johnson forgot how to drive? You're an idiot. Shut up. Sit down. He's going to win 8 races in a row. I'm not putting Kyle Larson in that category. I think driver slump and team slump. I think this may be more of a team slump than a driver slump. That's Fast Talk right here on PRN.
You're listening to the Performance Racing Network's live coverage of the NASCAR Cup Series.
We are back at Charlotte Motor Speedway, practice for the Coca-Cola 600. Alex Hayden, we said that cars are really able to run from the bottom to the top, and that wasn't an exaggeration, was it?
No, we're not lying. Austin Cindric has taken it to the top to the point of turns 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4 last lap. There might have been a little dust kicked up off the right rear. He was that close to the safer barrier. This time by, he's going to test the waters in the middle of the racetrack. I love what he's doing. You got to figure out what your car can do. Where is their grip? Where am I as a driver comfortable running? And where can I make the best time around this 1.5 mile racetrack? He's allowed a couple of cars to go by him. He's out there simply doing a little research and development right now.
Man, that was he was almost up there in the Larson lane, if not all the way up there in the Larson lane. Speaking of research and development, Denny Hamlin chasing teammate Chase Briscoe into turn number 1. They are planning to race here in practice.
Yeah, I think Denny Hamlin knows he's got a pretty good race car, but as Joe Gibbs Racing teammates, you get an idea what the car is going to do in some dirty air. What's it going to do inside? What's it going to do when the side draft kicks in? Hamlin will squeeze by in turn number 3. Now Chase Briscoe will have the opportunity to work behind Hamlin's car and figure out what his Toyota is going to do in dirty air.
What a joy to see so many race cars out on the track right now. A full field practice session here. Qualifying was rained out for the Coca-Cola 600, but they wanted to get the Cup cars on the track and give them what's most important to them, and that is practice time. 45 minutes of it here today. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. continues to lead the way with the fastest overall. The 10-lap average goes to Michael McDowell. Then it's Eric Jones. Then Austin Cindric, Riley Herbst, and Connor Zilic. Still only one driver has gone 15 consecutive laps.
Yeah, and that is Eric Jones. And looking at Eric's numbers, they're pretty sporty here in this practice session. Single lap speed, he's 9th best. So, okay, he's got some short run speed because he's 5th best on the 5-lap average. Then in the longer, the 10-lap consecutive average, Eric Jones is 2nd best, and he's the best on the 15-lap average as well. So that Legacy Motor Club team, after a great all-star race last week, Brad, coming back to Charlotte, continuing to have speed.
I was just thinking the same. We were bragging on Connor Zilic top 5 finish earlier. We should do the same about Eric Jones. They found something, and it's been really neat to see some speed in that race car for sure. So the owner of Legacy Motor Club, Jimmy Johnson, is scheduled to make a final start for him coming up here in just a few weeks as we head back out west to Jimmy Johnson's hometown for the very first time.
On Naval Base Coronado in San Diego, this is going to be one of those events that a lot of people are going to remember for a long, long time. Not just because first time racing on a Navy base, an active Navy base, celebrating America's 250th birthday in Jimmy Johnson's backyard there in the greater San Diego area. But the backdrop that's going to be that setting with aircraft carriers and other battleships in port there. The flyover and the pre-race, from what I understand, is going to be fairly remarkable. I haven't been given any details. I was just told it's going to be memorable. Make sure you're going to be able to have a camera ready to go. So I look forward to Naval Base Coronado and what we have out there, racing on an active Navy base. Very much look forward to it.
They can be a little more liberal with their flybys, if you will, when it comes to sealing and different things like that on a Navy base as compared to when we're flying over the public.
Yeah, you're right about that. And they're going to be racing. And one of the cool things about it, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race on Friday, the only people spectator-wise that are going to be allowed to watch that race in person will be military personnel and their family. They're not opening it up to the general public. This is a thank you to all the servicemen and women and their families. They're the only ones that will be able to get tickets to come watch the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race on Naval Base Coronado on that Friday afternoon, which is a really cool thing.
Yeah, loving what NASCAR is able to do with that for sure. And, man, what a great season that we've had so far on the racetrack. A lot of storylines for sure. And with this Coca-Cola 600, you know, this is really the prologue to what we have for this racing action coming up here with this 45-minute practice session, Alex.
It is. I was looking at Eric Jones, who's turned the most laps so far today. He's turned 39 laps in this practice session, and just kind of looking and getting somewhat of an idea where we're at as far as tire degradation goes. Eric Jones's best lap was his third lap. He ran a 29.3 second lap. On lap 39, it was 31.5 seconds. So that is, 2.2 seconds slower than what his fastest lap was. And when you put that in miles per hour, that's a 184.2 mile an hour lap to 171.0. Wow. So that is factoring in two different heat cycles that they had to deal with two red flags in this 45-minute session. And now Eric Jones, after running 39 laps, has taken that Toyota back to pit lane.
And I feel like they've got all the good out of that car they're going to get, because the window net has just dropped on the Advent Health Toyota, and they'll let Eric slide out of that race car as we go back to pit road and Napa Auto Parts pit reporter Brett McMillan.
Yeah, listening to Austin Hill, who of course is in the 33 car, which was Kyle Busch's machine. He says the car is really tight on throttle. It's bad in 1 and 2, but he says it's worse in 3 and 4. They're hoping to get back out with about 6.5 minutes to go, make some adjustments, get him back out before the end of this practice session.
Austin Hill currently 28th in single lap speeds. He's turned 30 laps so far in this 45-minute practice session, which we are down to, about 6 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in practice.
Alec Camata, what can you tell us from your section?
Well, we know Catherine Legg is trying to have the ultimate racing weekend and pull off the double at Indy and here at the Coke 600. Her practice session appears to be over after some time out there on the track. It's her first time running a Cup car here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The team actually very, very happy on the radio with what they were able to find during this practice session in terms of the speed that they expect, and obviously realistic what they run with and what they wanted out of this practice session. The most interesting part was, again, Catherine getting her first laps in a Cup car here at the Speedway. She realized that there are the bumps in turn 3 very early. She came over the radio and said, "Oh, those bumps are brutal." And her team came on there and said, "Yeah, if you keep hitting those the wrong way throughout the race, you will be hurting the next day." So that's something she worked on throughout this practice session, finding the best lanes into turns 3 and 4. But the team overall happy, realistic with their car, their 78 car. They're going to go back and do some sim work, they said, and hopefully give Catherine Legg as best of piece of equipment as possible as she attempts something historic.
And Catherine Legg doing this double, it's a major feat. There's no question about that, and it should be celebrated. It should be talked about. But look at it a bit of a different angle here, Brad. BJ McLeod did the sim work, getting set, get the setup for the Coca-Cola 600 for the NASCAR Cup Series car. This small team in Live Fast Motorsports, how big is this public relations-wise to bring attention to their race team?
I think it is great. And Live Fast Motorsports, initially a chartered race team, and they had the opportunity to sell that charter to Spire Motorsports, so they did. But BJ just wants to race, and he is an awesome guy. And he was racing last weekend at Dover Motor Speedway with us as well in one of his cars. And that's just what he wants to do. And to be able to put together this program for Catherine Legg, they don't just throw something together. This is something that they've been planning for a while. Not their first start together this year either, but for Catherine Legg, as was mentioned, her first start here at Charlotte and in the Coca-Cola 600. I can't imagine everything she's having to process right now from an analytic standpoint as a driver, that I'm out there going 230 miles per hour in my Indy car around Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and now I have to completely shift focus from a 1,400-pound race car to a 3,400-pound stock car and run this high bank mile and a half at Charlotte.
It is remarkable. And in an Indy car at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it's about precision and where you turn into the corners and staying on that fine line. Where here, as we've talked about already on this broadcast and practice, you've got options here to let your car drift, to figure out, okay, the bumps in turn 3 and 4 are rattling the fillings out of my mouth. I got to be careful. Can I take my car a bit lower on the track? So the mental side of it for Catherine Legg and adjusting what she needs to do here to have success in the NASCAR Cup Series. In your opinion, Brad, though, what would be a successful Coca-Cola 600 for Catherine Legg?
Run every lap you can. Period. I'm not saying she's going to finish on the lead lap. That would be an ultra successful run. But if she can run every lap that she can, if she goes 5 laps down over 400, so be it. Run them all. and do your best. And if you make it 1,100 total miles, that's awesome. If you fall just a little bit short, but if you're there at the end, I think that would be a very successful weekend.
I'm on the same page with you. I really do. And I think this is a great thing that they're doing out there, the public relations side of things. But for Catherine herself, the 45-year-old from the UK, to be able to do this, and she's good. She's a good race car driver. She's running the Rolex 24, Daytona multiple times, IMSA sports cars. She's got class wins at that division. She's in the Long Beach Walk of Fame from the Long Beach Grand Prix. So she is a highly skilled and a highly accomplished race car driver.
Let's go down to Brett McMillan.
Here with Carson. Done with his practice session. Well, you had a good fast speed. What did you learn?
I felt like we were pretty fast, so I feel like we're pretty good. And yeah, we'll see how tomorrow comes. I wish we could qualify, obviously, with the pace we showed, but we came from the last and nearest race last year to the front, so we're a good amount of spots better than we were last year at the start of the league. So this thing feels pretty good. We got some adjustments to do, but a lot of signs point towards what I felt last year.
You know that the track's going to change tomorrow, but I guess the good news is the temperature today is going to be pretty close to what it's going to be like tomorrow when the race starts, right?
Yeah, you would have to imagine if there ever was a time Charlotte would be similar to a nighttime, it would be this practice right here. So hopefully that's a good sign for us, and hopefully everybody else can tune themselves out if they thought it was too close.
Appreciate it. Good luck tomorrow night. That's Carson Dosapar.
Carson Hocevar set to go here today. But again, qualifying was rained out. They set the field by the rule book, by the metric. Carson Hocevar will take the green flag tomorrow in the Coca-Cola 600 from the 23rd starting spot.
And man, he has just had fast race cars. Won the pole at Texas Motor Speedway, literally the week after picking up his first career Cup Series victory at Talladega Superspeedway. We have 1 minute left to go in practice for the Coca-Cola 600. Hocevar currently second quick behind Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in terms of overall speed. And it's going to be really interesting as these teams digest everything they learned here before they prepare, or as they prepare for tomorrow's race.
Now we're getting to the point. NASCAR is going to give these teams 20 minutes when practice wraps up to make any final adjustments they need to make to their race cars. Once that 20 minutes expires, they'll take them back to the Cup Series garage, put a blanket on them, and tuck them in for the night before we go racing tomorrow in the Coca-Cola 600.
Ooh, had a little nervous moment out there for Corey Heim, who was running a fourth car for 2311 Racing. He drifted a little wide in turn number 2, almost got to the outside safer barrier. Looking at his car from our perspective right now, it looks like on that Toyota for him, everything is clean. Boy, that would have been the worst thing to happen to you right at the closing of practice.
He's got a good race car, too, and that's a 2311 car, the fourth entry there, along with Riley Herbst, Tyler Reddick, and Bubba Wallace. Speed in the car. Corey Heim is the fastest of all the Toyotas right now in single-lap speeds. He is 5th on the leaderboard.
That is very impressive. As practice is wrapped up, your top 10 overall, well, we'll talk about that coming up here in just a minute because we're going to go down to Alan Cavana.
And I found William Byron just over 30 laps in practice. What did that give you enough time to learn?
We only had one set of tires there, so it didn't learn a whole lot after the first few laps, just because the tires had some wear with the cool track conditions. But I thought our car did a lot of good things, and honestly, just not a lot different from last year and how it felt. So excited for tomorrow.
You were pretty fast last year. Yeah. It got away from you though. Does that linger? That race in your mind?
No, I think we definitely, there's some things we could have done differently or better, and you just kind of look back at that stuff. So it's more of a positive than a negative at this point. You've kind of been so long removed from it that you look at it more objectively, and there's a lot of lessons there just in how to position your car and the balance, and honestly, I think a lot of good things. So I'm excited for tomorrow.
Appreciate your time. If his car's anything tomorrow night like it was last year, guys, the 24 will be a huge threat.
Thank you very much, Alan Cavana. Let's give you a rundown here of how they practiced. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., fastest overall. Carson Hocevar was second quick. Third was Michael McDowell. Fourth, Ryan Blaney. Corey Heim, fifth. Toyota, Ford, Chevy, all in the top 5. Kyle Larson, sixth. Seventh, Christopher Bell. Ty Gibbs, eighth. Ninth, Eric Jones. Josh Berry rounds out the top 10.
Connor Zilich was 11th in single-lap speeds. Denny Hamlin, 12th. And it's Austin Cindric, 13th. William Byron, 14th. Chase Briscoe was 15th. Chris Buescher, 16th. Ross Chastain 17th, Daniel Suarez 18th, Ryan Preece 19th, and Bubba Wallace 20th.
Ty Dillon 21st, 22nd Cole Custer, 23rd AJ Allmendinger, Tyler Reddick 24th, 25th Shane Van Gisbergen, Alex Bowman 26th, 27th Riley Herbst, Austin Hill 28th, 29th Joey Logano, and Austin Dillon 30th. He actually cut down a left rear tire, only ran 15 laps in practice.
Noah Gragson single lap speeds was 31st, Brad Keselowski 32nd, Zane Smith 33rd, John Hunter Nemechek 34th, Chase Elliott 35th, Cody Ware 36th, Todd Gilliland 37th, Catherine Legg was 38th, and Timmy Hill 39th.
Coming up tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern Time, the Coca-Cola 600 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Be sure and tune in for that, but stick around because less than 1 hour from now, 4:30 Eastern, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Char-Broil 300, followed by the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series North Carolina Education Lottery 200 at 9